So, listening to the discussion in the other room on the Common Core section, Superintendent Husfeld, Superintendent Carvalho, several other people at the table, I think Eileen Siegel from the PTA, asked, why are we debating this? Why are we spending time this morning talking about something that's essentially a done deal? I think Superintendent Husfeld said that the goal was to placate critics of Common Core. Was this really a hearing on Common Core? Was this really a discussion about the standards?
I think this was really a discussion about the standards and making sure that we're all on the same page and that we're focused on the right things and that we all know where we're headed. So I think it was an important discussion.
What changed? I mean, how did it move any of the Florida policy in any new direction, or what do we learn?
I think we will know better in this next section. So as the team is over there working right now on what are the challenges and how do we approach those challenges, I think that's probably where we are going to see most of the work being done in today's discussion about Common Core state standards.
One of the other issues that was raised a couple of times at that same table was the turnover in leadership at the Department of Education has caused some issues for the districts because they're left to explain the kind of why we're doing this, what it is, and that they're not exactly equipped to do that. How do you react to that?
I would react by saying my goal is to provide stability. I think that that's an important role for me to be in right now, is to be that stabilizing force. I've been in the department and in education for many, many years, so I think that I bring that to the table and hopefully can provide some of that stability that they are looking for.
There was an item yesterday I forgot to ask you about. Wanted to clarify. There was some discussion about the October State Board of Education meeting and regarding a school grading rule. I want to make sure, I know that there was the vote earlier this year. Is it the intention that in October to extend the safety net provision for yet another year? Is that what's coming up in October? Did I mishear that yesterday?
That was the discussion that Jane Fletcher presented yesterday, is that is on the table for the October State Board meeting, is to provide stability in the school grade, to leave that safety net in place for another year as we are moving toward the new assessments. So that is something that will be up before the State Board in October for them to take up as a decision that will need to be made, since that was a one-year provision that they voted on earlier. In addition, there's also part of the school grading rule that will be taken up in October is also surrounding how long a student is in the school to be included in the school grade. So that will be taken up as well.
So at this point, what then? I just want to make sure I kind of understand where we're going. Then, is that we're talking about making some further revisions to the formula, but keeping intact everything else at this point in time.
That is the plan at this point, and I think that we should see a pretty lively discussion surrounding that safety net as we move into the October board meeting. So we'll see where we end up. Is
the thought that you wanted to get this done a bit earlier this year, before we go, or explain the thought about why you're bringing that up now?
I think it was always the intention. I think when the board voted in the summer, I think it was always the intention that they take it up again when it wasn't such a quick turnaround, but they had time to be thoughtful and think about it and do it early, as you said. I think it's important that our schools and school districts know what the rules are that they're playing with as early as possible in the year.
Okay. Have you given any serious thought that there has been some conversations about whether or not a delay in the standards, but perhaps a quote pause in the consequences? That given with the continued transition, moving to Common Core, having FCAT tests that are based upon the next generation standards and not the Common Core, that perhaps there should be some serious conversation about not having any consequences associated with the grades that would come out next year. Do you think that's a legitimate point of view to contemplate?
I think I'd want to look at what consequences we want to pause on. I think that many of our consequences really do serve our students very well, whether we're looking at FCAT 2.0 or we're looking at an assessment that aligns to the Common Core standards. I think it's important that we would really take a serious look at what consequences we're talking about, because many of those consequences that we discuss help our students, and so we want to continue making sure that we're providing students with all the support that we possibly can.
Since Governor Scott is not here, have you had any conversations with him about how this is going or any guidance from him?
I think that staff has had conversation with the governor about how it's going, and I think that he is, again, charged us with this important work of listening. We're going to be doing that. We're going to be talking about what's important, and as the collaborative labs do a great job, they actually synthesize everything, and we'll be able to come out with a document that has all of the talking points that are coming from this event, and I think that will help us as we move forward.
And you said staff, can you just clarify, is staff or yours?
Both. We have continuous discussion, and that has been conveyed back to the governor.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone.